Just a quick video today. We're going to be having a look at the new Warcry starter. This is available for pre-order on Saturday the 29th of July, and we might see some content creators looking at the contents on Saturday morning. We did see some rumors about this box a while ago, but it's only been officially revealed recently. This is a fantastic box. In it, you get all the cards you need for all the fighters in the box. You also get the cards with all the abilities for your warbands in the box. You get tokens, you get dice, you get a paper board, some terrain, and some minis. I can also see just in the corner that the token page also includes a measurement tool, which is a nice addition. The rulebook is 72 pages, which has the core rules for Warcry, along with 7 battle plans designed specifically for this box. Presumably there's some sort of mini campaign between the two factions, which could be fun. The terrain is brand new, but it looks a lot like the old Mausoleum set, so if you already have that or can get your hands on it, the terrain is a really nice addition to it. Not a lot of terrain, but it's enough to make a wall or two that will break up the board. I've seen some speculation that this might have been terrain for a Underworlds box, and it certainly would look great on an Underworlds board. There are 8 fighters in total, both previously available as Underworlds warbands. The models are gorgeous, and the fighters do see some play in competitive lists, Prince Duval and Kaltia Zandar in particular. In Warcry, these are what are called Bladeborn fighters. So this isn't a full 1000 point warband, it's probably closer to 500 or 600. As I've talked about previously, you can have a lot of fun and an engaging game at this size, so I'm not particularly upset about that in a starter box. What's really nice about Bladeborn fighters is if you take the leader as an ally in another warband, then the rest of the Bladeborn fighters can join as normal fighters. So if you decide to play another dead faction, Flesh Eater Court for example, you can use all of the vampire fighters in that box in the next warband. So I titled this video as the best starter you shouldn't buy. So let's talk about that for a little bit. There are a few things I don't like about this box. The first is the paper mat. I have this exact mat in cardboard from the Mausoleum box and I love it. The paper ones though, for me they never sit flat and I always end up just pinning them pretty soon. It's a cost-saving approach from GW, which I can appreciate, but I'd be much happier with cardboard. Second, the rulebook is tiny compared to the actual rulebook. It's 72 pages, while the core rulebook is 160 pages. What we're probably losing is all of the narrative campaign rules. So the Crypt of Blood book is basically just going to be a copy of the online rules with some bonus content that can only be used with these two warbands. Again, I get that GW are saving some money in this starter, but I would have liked to see a full narrative campaign rules for this, so you didn't have to go out and buy another rulebook after picking this one up. The dice being generic ones and the lack of a classic ruler I can get over. I've got tons of those already. All of this would be fine if the price was right, but it really isn't. It is way too much for a new player to try out the game for cheap, and there really isn't enough in this to justify that price. If this had been 2 Underworlds warbands with all of their cards and a full rulebook, then the price would make sense. It's not though. You cannot play these warbands in Underworlds as you don't get the cards for them. The rulebook is half the size of the core rulebook. The terrain is underwhelming. This unfortunately is massively overcosted for what it's supposed to do, which is be an entry point. If we look instead at Nightmare Quest, this is nearly double the price, but we're getting a cardboard mat, enough terrain to fill the board, and double the number of fighters, with 2 full 1000 point warbands. The Might and Madness campaign book is 64 pages, which probably is similar to the content of the Crypt of Blood book, assuming the core rules only take up 8 pages. It really is a shame, as in concept the starter box is a great starting point, but the price for it is just too much. Okay, so if you do want to start the Warcry, what are the alternatives? The classic one is the Age of Sigmar Warrior box. This gets you a bunch of orcs and a bunch of Stormcast, enough to make 2 full warbands. You get the same crappy paperboard, and your terrain is a box, but it's half the price. You will need to get the rules online from Warhammer community website, and if you want fighter cards, you'll need to make some and print them out yourself. Link to the card creator in the description. You'll also need to work out some tokens, but for the most part, you just need some wound and activation tokens, not too hard. Again, I've got a PDF link in the description. You can print those out if you need them. Another option is just to buy 2 warbands. This is going to cost a little bit more than getting the starter box. but you get to pick any of the warbands that you are interested in. As before, a board and terrain might be a challenge, but if you're already a Warhammer fan, you probably have something you can use. If you're brand new, then don't be afraid to fight across the kitchen table with cereal box buildings and milk carton towers. It is part of the experience. Another option is to pick up the Warhammer Underworld starter, whether it's this cheap one or one of the more expensive ones. The idea of taking two small warbands and facing them off is actually a really good one. Honestly, if the Warcry starter also included everything you need to play Underworlds as well as Warcry, I would tell you it's an instant buy. The Underworlds box frustratingly has the same amount of contents as the Warcry starter, but more. It's got cardboard boards, it's got two 56-page books, you still have a Stormcast warband facing off against a Death warband, along with tons of cards, tokens, and special dice. With this box, you can play games of Underworld, or you can grab the online Warcry rules and play some games of Warcry with them. Warcry is a fantastic game, and it is super easy to get started with. For someone new though, it's not always clear how to go about that. We often see new players asking what's the best way to get in this game, and having something obvious from GW on the store would really help. I think many potential new players are going to look at the price and decide that Warcry is just too expensive for them. In this instance, I feel GW are actively putting a barrier in the way of new players getting into Warcry, and through that Age of Sigmar. Frustratingly, I expect some GW managers down the line will look at the poor sales figures for this box and question whether anyone even plays Warcry. Luckily, we have seen the preview for the Wilder Core Hunters, which is an upcoming Cities of Sigmar warband, which I'm pretty sure will be very popular. But we somehow need to get the word out that we are playing for Warcry and not for Age of Sigmar. Anyway, what do you think of this? I already have those two warbands. If I didn't, I might consider picking it up as an experienced player. I definitely think it's a no-go for a new player. Unless it was maybe a gift from a very generous friend, or we were able to find it at a steep discount. What are your thoughts? Please comment below. Thanks for making it all the way to the end. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Each week I put up a new video talking about one of Games Workshop's specialist games. The goal is always to try and make the best possible two-player experience. If this is something you'd find interesting, please subscribe to the channel and comment to let me know what you'd like to see in future.